If it's an e-commerce model, then, we do a site analysis. Every good agency will, there's a site audit that you just go through and try and punch holes in any issues that are just first and foremost the problem. So
Hey, welcome back to Right Media Group Chronicles. We are keeping it real, sharing fresh ideas, and giving you the fuel to keep moving forward. Let's jump in.
Today I'm joined by Braden Tobler, founder of Massif. He runs a lean hands-on SEO and ads agency built on partnerships and real results. Braden, welcome. How did Massif begin?
thank you for having me. So it happened just slowly and steady. Started out, my background was in agency work for a couple years. I worked with a SEO specific agency and did work for them for about 4 years before they kind of mentored me and coached me on what it would look like to go out on my own. So great friends, great bosses, great mentors. And at that point, that was about 7 years ago that I stepped away and right off the bat was able to secure some two or three really large clients that was instantly putting me into a good comfort zone where I could support my family and take care of the clients at the same time and have a little bit more freedom in my life. So that was 7 years ago.
Wow. So what made you start your own agency?
Well, truth be told, the previous agency, we moved mountains there. We did a lot of good work for clients, and I was always nudging the bosses there to kind of scale, to try and grow, and they wanted to be in the trenches with us doing the work and the high level execution as well. And I wanted them to step into CEO roles and just do sales and let me help run the team. And they just kind of let me know like, hey, this is the kind of the level we'd like to be at. We've been here for multiple years. We want to stay here. So at that point, they mentored me through, all kinds of things in life, but they're like, hey, let's get you to have a little bit more freedom in your life. Because at that point I was kind of a high country adventurer. I did a lot of outdoor extreme sports that they were like, hey, we don't even know if you're going to show up sometime on Monday because we don't know if you're lost in the backcountry. They're like, you're going to have a lot more freedom if you go out and start your own. You'll have probably more money as well. So that's how it kind of started.
Are you still in touch with them?
To an extent, we still follow each other on social media and I see them doing their mountain biking as well. So we just need to link up for some good mountain biking
Yeah, of
laps and stuff.
course. That's the best way to connect.
Yeah, exactly. Better
So
business meetings.
yeah, but your model is lean and founder led. So why would you say clients appreciate that?
Is more so that they get to interact directly with me, and that I think gives them a lot of confidence. So they're not interacting with a sales team member
Mhm.
currently. We'd like to grow more, but they're not currently interacting with a sales team member that is only able to talk, 20%. So they're interacting with me on the sales. They're interacting with me on the, to an extent, the reporting and the overall strategy, and that gives them a lot more confidence that I can also guide my whole team to make sure that we're all taking the steps to execute all kinds of things to really move the needle for them. So they appreciate working with me currently.
So you have a team all over the USA. So what I'd like to know is how do you keep things working smoothly?
Well, working with a kind of small team, one-on-one contractors that are specialists in their field has always been not always the hardest thing in the world, but for a good long while, I was able to talk the talk with content team. I'm able to talk with the ad team for both Meta ads, LinkedIn ads, Google ads, and then the SEO team of auditors, editors, and executors. I'm able to talk to them all really well, and that has always been pretty smooth. But in the last, 9 months or so, I brought on a project manager that her full role was to really take that off my shoulders and run with it. And so she's done a phenomenal job at like taking the whole team, learning how to improve all the systems, improve all the communication so that I can very at a high level just look at what progress is being made and we can just check in. So we can keep
Yeah,
meetings to a minimum and just check in with each other. And we have systems built that report progress from each team. So that's
that's
really good.
amazing. So would you say it was hard to get to the point with your team and being happy with the current flow of things initially to find somebody you're happy to work with, they still deliver what they're supposed to do in the time frame by the deadline?
Yeah, it's been a learning curve, and I think a lot of agencies have had the same experience where maybe they hire fast and they fire slow. And so I'm trying to, implement the opposite. We're looking to hire some sales team members that my first instinct is wanting to just hire the first couple people that I interact with that I think is going to be a good fit. But what I've found over the years is, take a little bit more time, vet them a little bit more and hire slow, fire fast. And so, right now we have a team of some really specialized people that have been in the industry for years and can talk the talk, and know it inside out. Those that can take a strategy just from a conversation and go fully through execution of, say an ad strategy in one of the platforms. It makes a world of difference when you can just implement and say, here's what we want to do. What do you suggest? They offer a suggestion and we say, okay, that sounds within scope. Let's go for it. Let's run. And makes it a lot easier to just trust that team member and have things execute at a much more rapid pace.
So SEO and ads can feel very number driven. Where do you think creativity really matters?
Yeah, the numbers, you do have to get creative on how you relay those numbers to your clients. So some clients, they want to hyperfixate on just cost per acquisition. Other clients, maybe the purchasing process is a longer strategy. So, if there's multiple touch points for a customer to actually convert, either fill out a form or purchase a product, trying to relay to the client that, hey, we're not going to, show them an ad, just a couple times before they convert. We need to kind of have a strategy with, you need to have content on your website that educates. You need to have maybe YouTube ads or, general display ads that pique interest and show up often. And then you need to have more purchase driven ads that support closure towards the end of the funnel. And so one thing that we kind of shifted mindset around in the last, just within the last year is focusing on our ads. You can set conversion goals in, mid ads, for example, and you can be hyper fixated on, I just want to know cost per acquisition. And you can't always trust their numbers perfectly. So what we did is we took, and created a calculation, from other mentors and other agencies we've talked to. But we set up just a basic calculation that says, hey, based on the average amount of people that come to the website and the average cost per click and the conversion rate on the site, we can estimate that for every 1,000 people that hit the website, we should expect this much revenue, based on average order value as well. So we take that and we say, okay, we're just going to focus on, let's do traffic campaigns, get as many people to the website as possible. And on average, if we send this many people to the site, your budget should allocate this much revenue. So shifting that on the ad side, it's just a conversation that we're trying to relay that a little bit more effective to the client because they love the numbers, but in the end, they want a smaller amount of numbers because they don't want to be drowned in data sometimes. Some people do, and that's great. Same with SEO. Rankings are always fluctuating. There's always changes in the algorithm. There's all kinds of things going on. And overall, you just want to see the whole ship, rise with the storm and, just make sure everything's going in the right direction. So relaying that information, making sure it's still rooted in data, but also aligns with the emotional needs of the client and understanding the customer's interactions and intent. We're trying to marry the numbers and the emotions behind everything.
I am curious, Braden. So, in regards to paid advertising, let's say a client comes over to you and they say, I want paid advertising for my e commerce products, for example. What would be the kind of first steps you take with them?
Yeah, say if it's an e-commerce model, then, we do a site analysis. Every good agency will, there's a site audit that you just go through and try and punch holes in any issues that are just first and foremost the problem. So if there's something that's a blatant issue with like site speed that needs to be addressed, that should be addressed first and foremost. We need to kind of get analytics and data set up if it's not already. We need to have a good understanding of their conversion rate. And then we need to use the large tools at our capacity to make it so they can reach at scale. So like setting up Google Merchant Center is super valuable and kind of a necessity for anyone with a fair amount of products. If you have a small amount of products, we've done that too, but get them set up with Google Merchant Center. And then from there, we can leverage that. We can use that through Google Ads, through shopping campaigns, and in general, it will assist them on the organic side too. There's a variety of things. And then from there, once that groundwork's built, then we can launch ads and scale and go after different verticals and specific product things and, create ads of all types.
I'm genuinely so glad you mentioned about focusing on the foundation first of all, rather than straight away jumping into paid advertising, scaling something that's
Yeah.
possibly has cracks or breaks in the process. Brilliant answer there. Can you share a client story where things were messy before, but you turned it around?
Yeah, I think that, for example, yeah, one of our e-commerce clients is a large apparel company. They, service, they have upwards of, a couple thousand different apparel types. So, just one shirt could have, has a ton of different variables, tons of different colors and sizes and fits. And so with them and with a store of that size, there's always going to be some issues are in place. And so, for example, one of the processes we're heavily involved in with them is just getting their Shopify store to speak and pass all the proper data back to Merchant Center so that Merchant Center has all the important details to show up. So, say in Shopify, you have to name colors and sizes and all kinds of things and different price points. All those need to be taken into consideration and piping into the right areas of Merchant Center. And first and foremost, it was messy. There was a lot of empty fields. And in Merchant Center, it lets you know, hey, this is empty, or you have you don't have a either gender assigned to this, you don't have a sizing, you don't have a color, and getting all those things adjusted heavily influence the overall ability for your stuff to be seen. Someone searches on Google search for men's apparel, light tan shirt, size medium. If we don't have the sizing set or we don't have the color set, that product will never show. So we need to be more competitive with that. So cleaning that up is a big process and has been fruitful for them as well.
Especially now, I mean, you have to be very specific with your keywords, for example, for a business, isn't it?
Yep, yep, exactly. So
What would you say currently has been the hardest part for the business? Would you say it's finding clients, putting content out there?
I would say our growth model has been like slow and steady, and that's been something that's totally fine with us. We work with kind of a scale model that's like we want to have larger retainers, smaller amount of clients, and that shift from that position to maybe more sales is a harder leap to take. And so right now, yeah, we have a sales system that's being built out, and it's we have high hopes for it, but at this point, we've grown heavily through referrals and through partnership programs with other either agencies that we've worked with agencies that not exactly a white labeling experience, but they do the SEO. We do the paid ads for their clients and we kind of collaborate. We help them with analytics. Sometimes they don't specialize in the analytics and database stuff. And so we help with that. Whereas other clients partners we've brought on, they do all the paid ads and we just do all the execution on the SEO side.
Yeah, I
So
have heard a couple of agency owners actually mention that. So how do you all connect with each other? Is there a group or you were working in the same place? How does that work?
yeah, it's usually through just word of mouth, through interactions, through, the way we've connected here on a podcast, other people may hear about that. And so the couple partners that we've worked with, it's just been through word of mouth referrals, longtime friends. Yeah, that we have either been at agencies, meetups before or interacting before and just finally build the trust that we said, "Hey, that person's been in the industry long enough. I trust that they can bring to the table what I need." And so that collaboration just long term works out.
Is there anything else you're currently exploring for client growth?
Overall client growth, we have the sales side and then we have the additional services that could be useful to break into. So on the client growth side, we're going to start with, LinkedIn outreach, LinkedIn targeted ads and,
Well,
Meta targeted ads as well.
yeah.
And then from there, we want to shift to also offering some new services, AI SEO. There's a million terms we could argue about if it's GEO and all the other things. That's an avenue that, we're kind of just slowly working that into all of our packages already. Currently, we have add-on packages available for our current clients that are in packages already that they could add that. And then future clients, that's going to be heavily involved in the pitch. So they can, if it's viable for them and they really value being mentioned in AI overviews and AI answers, then we will assist that and we'll work through that. And it's going to be fun and exciting because it's really much, it's a wild, wild west right now. So
Yeah.
we're just kind of excited to work with clients to help them in that space.
So what is your goal with the LinkedIn and Meta ads? What is the outcome you're really hoping for?
It's going to be probably a multi-prong approach where we can go straight B2B to find businesses that need our assistance. We're also going to be attacking, web development firms that don't do SEO services, or maybe a database or web hosting service that, they work with, various clients, but their clients are always asking, hey, do you have an SEO company, or do you have a suggested person that you work with ads on it? Working and closing deals in that area is kind of a exciting thing for us to maybe grow at scale if we can work with like large networks and say, hey, you've done web development for all these companies in this one niche. We'd love to, facilitate the next step, because you're launching a website that potentially had a lot of SEO value. If you do it wrong, you might break it. And so having us involved could be a good insurance for the customers to have a good understanding and have the data to show, here's your rankings before the website launch, here's the rankings for the next 6 months after the launch. And then if they're happy with the results and they want long-term strategies, we're there to assist and be there for long as they'd like to work with us. So all of our clients.
Basically, sorry. So it is that sort of partnership, yeah?
Yep. Yeah. And I think that we could just be very symbiotic and assist each other quite a bit.
So in regards to I mean, it's everywhere right now. What is your personal opinion and where do you find it useful and where do you think it removes the human touch?
It definitely removes the human touch as far as the content that some people are releasing. If you're cranking out content and you're not doing the double check and you're not having a human editor's review, then that can be problematic in the long run. And so our team, we are supported by AI, but we always have human editors supporting and building that whole process. As far as AI goes on just what the hype is and the long-term play, we try and have very strict conversations with our clients that we are very focused on more so the end of funnel, because that's what really really piques the interest of a CEO is cost per acquisition or revenue generated. And so AI overviews, AI education that mentions brands is very much, in my opinion, the top of the funnel right now. So it's piquing interest and it's getting the ball rolling. And I've seen data that says, individuals that are coming from AI are 4 times, likely to convert. And so they're very much pre-sold in the AI conversation on the process. They very much have done the research. I want to get a new Garmin watch for exercise. I've done the research. I already know exactly what products I want. I know the 3 ones. I know that they're going to have Black Friday sales, and I know which ones have which features. And so when I finally do make the jump to purchase, it's just I'm fast. It's going to be a very quick decision. And so, there's a balance between understanding for a client, how many touch points does it take on average for a customer to convert? Do we need to be there the funnel more? Is that a strategy that you have to invest in, or is it something that's a little bit more on the back burner and we're just going to follow best SEO practices, and those practices will then in result show us up in AI reviews as well?
So if you had to pick a favorite tool in regards to AI, something that's saving you time right now, what would it be?
Well, there's a few tools that, are the big players in the industry. You guys all know about those, but we use, a content one that's great. But the one that I enjoy the most right now is a non-invasive AI note taker called Granola. It's currently free.
Granola.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not even special. It's not like this fancy one that
Yeah.
everyone's talking about. There's all the other ones that exist and they're great, and there's plenty of them that are very robust. Granola is just light and simple. It works on desktop or on phones, and you can just take the notes, it'll listen to the whole transcript, and then you can interact with it however you see fit. And so you can then ask it to do anything and everything that you could possibly think of, any prompt based on the transcript. That's its whole realm,
Mm.
and it just references that. That I can go in, and after, this podcast, I can ask it to give all the key points that I had, and it can suggest, potential videos that I can make for internal or external use based on the conversations we just had.
Wow, incredible.
I enjoy it.
Is it anything like Fathom? Because what Fathom does, and that's something I personally use, is that it joins like Zoom meetings. Obviously, something like this you wouldn't be able to join. So I'm guessing Granola on the back end is still kind of tracking this conversation.
Yep, it can just listen in, and it's yeah, it does. It probably interacts very, very similar.
Ah,
Yep,
interesting. I'll definitely be checking it out
yep,
after this podcast.
awesome. Yep,
So, what would you say is next for Massive in the next 12 months?
12 months. Okay, short little window of time. I expect that we will have, a far more involved sales team set up in place, a lot more of a strategy there that's going to be long term and ongoing. And then we have a few deals in place with, potential brands that are going to partner with us that, could bring a fair amount of clients to the table. So we're ambitious and looking forward to, having those deals go through. And if that happens, we might have quite a big influx of clients from one specific sector, and that could be super valuable for us long term. And if that's the case, we'll potentially be expanding our team as well and increasing
Wow,
overall headcount at the
that
company.
sounds like it's going to be exciting, growing the business. I hope you're going to achieve this.
I appreciate it. Doesn't count until the invoices are paid, but
Of
yeah,
course. But it's good to dream every once in a while as well.
yeah. Try not to count the cash early. So yeah.
Yeah. So you've got young kids and a growing agency. My question to you is, how do you balance it all?
It's a wild ride. But I have the luxury of being able to work from home. I do have external co-working space, so I can go away. I'm currently in like an AUD in the backyard, so I don't hear the kids in the house, which makes a world of difference. So wife and the kids can be in there and do everything that they can be screaming and loud and having fun, doing whatever they want, and I don't even hear it. So I can focus. It's super valuable. But, yeah, we just try our best to balance it. What we kinda do is the whole purpose of bringing the project manager on in the last few months was to give myself some form of sabbatical for my second child. It didn't really happen for the first child, and so that was the goal. Project manager did a phenomenal job, and the work-life balance that I have right now is good. I'd love to have more time to work and, not be pulled inside the house too
Mm,
much to help, but that's just how life goes, and it's just the phase of life we're in, and we're trying to find that balance.
fair enough. And what is one piece of advice you would have for founders trying to stand out in a crowded space?
Yeah, I mean, my philosophy has always been to not be just like a hype engine. I just cannot tolerate the sales bros that, overpromise and likely underdeliver. So we focus on just super high level authenticity, just bluntly honest and straight to the point. We don't get clients that are very stoked on just if they need to be hyped and they need to be, told nonstop that it's just like this is the most cutting edge thing we're doing, that we don't shine in that space. And I think in the end that makes us stand out because we have a different experience. So sales calls with us and interactions with us come across, maybe more authentic and straight and honest to the point. So that's our philosophy. And I think that the whole industry could benefit from, you know, under promising and over delivering and being authentic.
Yeah, I
Hopefully.
like that. Thank you very much, Braden. So, if people were trying to find you, where could they look?
Our website is massifco.com. So massifco.com. You should be able to search Massive Co as well. You should be able to search my name, Braden Tobler, Braden Tobler. And you can come across various things there. On LinkedIn, I'd love to connect with anyone as well. My Instagram is private, but I will probably approve if you guys want to connect and see some of my adventures. But in general, yeah, those are the best places to find us. So
Yeah,
website,
we'll definitely
LinkedIn,
post the links below this video as well.
awesome. Okay,
Thank you for keeping this real, Braden.
thank you. Take care.
Take care.